And if you like VR gaming and any sort of active games, then this is the talk that you want to hear, because we have Jesse Schell is going to be on virtual. He's going to join us virtually, and he's the CEO of Schell Games. And they've created a game called Until You Fall, which is a very active sword slashing kind of smash 'em up sort of game. You play Until You Fall?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, of course. So it's great. That's my kind of game. I like destroying things in VR because I'm a very nice person. I wouldn't do that in real life, but you know, in virtual reality, we can go do those things and not get arrested, which is awesome. So I am going to tomorrow hopefully do some cool stuff in a car, and that'll be fun and safe as well. So, all right, so we are very happy to hear you today. You're going to chat for about 20 minutes and then save a few minutes for questions. He'll have questions at the end, and this will go until about 3:10. So thank you very much, and I'll give the stage to you.
Cool.
Thank you so much for having us today. My name is Nils. I'm CEO and co-founder of Holoride. And the gentleman over there, this is Jesse Schell, CEO and founder of Schell Games, who is my virtual co-pilot today. So he'll come back on stage once it's his turn. It's great to be back at a physical event. Thanks for AWE organizing this, and thanks for Unity supporting us to present today to you. The good thing about a physical event is you finally see reactions and you see emotions of people again, which is good. Unfortunately, on this stage, it's really hard to see you guys, but how are you today? Are you here? Come on, you can do better than that. I know we had lunchtime. Cool. Awesome. I missed this. Since 2 years, you just present to a Zoom screen the whole time, so that's amazing to be back. Before we kick this off, I'd like to start with a short video that tells you a little bit about the vision we pursue at Holoride. So, thanks. Obviously, this is a marketing video, which we launched when we launched our company early 2019 at the CES in Las Vegas. We are on a journey for quite some time already. My two co-founders and I, we used to work at the German car manufacturer Audi together. And back in 2015, we started with a project that now turned into Holoride. And so it's already a 6-year journey. We're working on this. And I think what the video showed very nicely, what we do is we bring XR to cars. But it's more than that, because we create a platform that enables motion and location-aware content in cars. So the ones of you that maybe have seen the keynote this morning from John Hanke, I mean, Niantic is doing a fantastic job building a real-world platform for persistent content. We literally take this to cars, not the Niantic platform. We build our own, but maybe there might be some overlaps in the future. But persistent content, but also procedural content. And the content is influenced not just by the locations you're passing by, but also the way how the car drives or the driver drives you around as a passenger. So the content is being influenced on how the car is moving through the real world. And I think that shows the video very, very nicely. We started this for a reason. Why should we bring XR to a car? There is a very astonishing estimation out there. If you look at the different studies, there are approximately 400 billion hours that people spend in cars as passengers, in private passenger cars. So it's a huge opportunity for the content industry, for the entertainment industry to reach a very, very captive audience. However, cars are part of entertainment for quite some time. However, entertainment never really made it into cars for several reasons. And that's why we started Holoride with a clear purpose to make transit time count, because very often this passenger time is perceived as lost time and wasted time. So we wanted to change this. Now it's getting a little technical. I bring up one slide to explain what we have been building. Maybe we start with the first and most important thing. The Holoride experiences and apps run on personal devices of the passengers that they bring to the cars. So it's running on devices hopefully everyone uses in his or her daily life. So you bring it to the car, then it wirelessly connects to the car, and this is where the vehicle localization comes into play. We take real-time car data from the vehicle, so like acceleration, braking, steering angle, wheel ticks, GPS position, navigation route, and synchronize this in real time with the content displayed on the personal device. We have a platform, our Holoride platform, that connects content creators with car manufacturers, but most importantly, and this is why they're always in the center of our slides, the passenger. So we use these different types of tech with one single purpose, to improve the passenger experience. So our platform, I mean, we've heard this a lot today, also uses or utilizes blockchain technology for several reasons. Because we want to be a content platform that is fully transparent by design, so that our partners know how passengers engaged with their respective titles or in their cars. So because this is also influencing how they're being compensated. And of course, with tokens, there are a lot of possibilities how you can increase the passenger experience and the value, and also the value of the content creators. And this brings me to the fourth element, our Elastic SDK. The content that can be built with our technology we call elastic content, due to the fact that it's changing every time. Because if the car takes a different route or is driving differently, the experience will be played out differently. And we have come up with an SDK for creators to build these type of experiences that then are being published via our platform to passengers on their personal devices. As I said, we spun out of Audi, but the reason why we spun out is to be open for every car manufacturers. And we already have done projects with Ford, with Porsche, with Mercedes, and several other car brands in the past, and we'll hopefully connect them all to our platform to really make it a very scalable platform for creators, and a very attractive one to reach content developers. The first Holoride-ready cars will hit the street in fall next year. So now it's the perfect time to engage with us if you want to create content. I don't know, who of you is a content creator? Fantastic, great. So if you want to engage with us, now it's the perfect time. Use our Elastic SDK, and next year, once our platform launches, maybe one of your titles is being part of it. I don't tell yet. Several cars. It's not just one car. Otherwise, the scale wouldn't be enough. We also announced last week that we create our own token, the Ride token. This is also a utility token that is basically made for our ecosystem to increase additional value or to add additional value for content creators and our partners in the ecosystem. Happy to share more information about this if you're interested. The benefits in general for creators are, of course, you have a new creative canvas. I mean, you're familiar with XR, you already have probably built a lot of experiences in XR, but this is a new medium because, as I said, it's non-linear, it's really elastic, it's changing every time. Gives you additional revenue streams because, as I said, the applications will run on existing hardware platforms. And we have designed the Elastic SDK in a way that it's a very easy to use tool set that plugs into the Unity game engine. So if you're familiar with the Unity game engine, you maybe have a lot of assets created, then just download the Elastic SDK. It's a plugin and you can start building. The cars, I mean, just see the amount of cars that are driving around with passengers. And I just shared the number of private passenger cars. If you look at the Uber vehicles, there are 50 million rides per day performed by Uber, Lyft, Grab, and Didi per day, paying passengers approximately 21 minutes ride time on average. So it's a captive audience and a scalable platform. And as I said, with our blockchain technology, we also make a lot of things transparent because we strongly believe, and we talked about this idea of the metaverse very often today, that it needs to be decentralized and open for everyone to participate. That's the tech side, and I can tell you a lot of stories about our journey, but I think very interesting for many of you in the audience, especially the creators, is the first-hand experience of someone who or his company already has built experiences with our SDK. And that's why I'd like to hand over to Jesse Schell to share his experiences and what Schell Games has been building with us and for us in the last few months. Jesse, over to you.
All right, thanks so much, Nils. Let's see, I'm gonna try this clicker. Is it working?
We can see you.
You can see me. Okay, great. So I'm going to talk today about Cloudbreaker. Just so you know, Schell Games, who we are, we're a studio out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We do a lot of different VR projects. We got about 140 people. We've done a lot of VR, a lot of AR. You might be familiar with some of our titles. But today, I was going to talk about some of the work we've done with Holoride. We've actually created 2 experiences with them before. We did Rocket's Rescue Run, which was an initial experience, and we've done a second one, a second experience after that. Now, both of these were for racetracks. So we were designing these for very specific racetracks, which was great. But what I want to talk about today is Cloudbreaker, which is a new game that we've developed that is specifically for the Elastic SDK that Nils was talking about. So let me tell you a little bit about Cloudbreaker. The idea of this game is you are this scavenger on this planet that is sort of full of these magical treasures, but it's been taken over by these evil robots. And so you're going to explore this and fight against these flying robots while you're there. So it basically is kind of like a dungeon crawl in the clouds where you're controlling a mech. Okay. And so we made a lot of choices when we built this game. First of all, the idea is you're sitting in the vehicle and you're remote controlling this mech that flies around in front of you that you control with a thumbstick. And you have this grappling interface so you can grab the treasures, but then also you can use your grappling interface for fighting. So you can see here, the way you lock onto enemies is you use your gaze in order to lock on. And then when you want to grapple them, you can kind of hit a button and grab them, and that pulls you toward them so that you can do melee fighting. But you don't have to just do melee fighting. You can also do shooting and have a bunch of super missile attacks. That's a whole other way you can play. So there's a lot of different choices about exactly how you're going to play this game. But the key part of this is this uses the Elastic SDK so that the entire environment is sort of built out of the data for the world that your car is traveling through right now. And so we'll take a look at the video here. So you can kind of see, here we are, flying around. You're controlling this character, grabbing a bunch of treasures. You can see some enemies are showing up, and so you have to dodge these different towers that are kind of part of the environment. And so it's a very active, exciting game. If you look down and you see these kind of little lines flying through the world, those are where the roads are in the world. And so where the towers appear is entirely defined by the world map. So here we're in a kind of a city grid, so you can kind of see that the gameplay here is a bit different. But so it's very exciting. When you play this, it is a little hard to describe when I'm just telling you about it. But when you're actually playing a Holoride game, it is just so much more powerful, so much more intense. So the idea of this is you're going to play, you're going to fight a bunch of enemies, you're going to gather a bunch of treasures. Then when you're ready, you can kind of opt out, take a break, and then use the treasures that you've gotten in order to purchase new items in the game. And that kind of connects in with some of the NFT stuff that Nils was talking about before. So let me just jump ahead here. So in terms of making a game like this, because if people are thinking that, hey, I might want to try making a Holoride game, like, first of all, I would highly recommend it. It's a really exciting space. So what makes it exciting? This full body immersion is really exciting. Your whole body is immersed in the same world that your mind is in. And this makes it feel like a theme park ride. If anyone's ever been on, say, Star Tours at Disneyland, if you could imagine you're playing Star Tours, but it's a video game, that is honestly what it feels like when you play. We made sure to put a lot of decisions. So you're constantly making decisions. How am I going to fly? How am I going to gather? How am I going to dodge? How am I going to shoot? This all leads to a strong flow state so that you really feel like you're flying through the world. We thought a lot about that moment when kids stick their hand out the window and they're kind of flying their hand up and down. We wanted to have that kind of continuous feeling as you fly. And something really important to realize is the emergent play that comes from the Elastic SDK. We found that in areas where there's kind of continuous roads, like a highway, naturally, the system that we built just automatically turned it into a game about dodging and collecting. And when you got to sort of a slower areas with city grids, it sort of naturally turned into arena combat. And it was pretty great that whole thing just worked. So big lessons learned for us in terms of working with Holoride and the Elastic SDK. This is definitely a unique and powerful experience. If you think VR is immersive, this takes the immersion up one more level, because now you're not just immersing your head in your hands, you're immersing all the forces in your body. Now, it's worth noting, these bodily forces really create strong cognitive load. And as a result, we found in general, the car version had to be 3 times, it felt 3 times faster and 3 times more intense when you're in the car versus when you're at your desk. So you need to compensate for that, because otherwise you make a game that's just too overwhelming. So it's okay to kind of space things out a little bit. Player choice is really important, because a big part of what makes the Holoride system great is the fact that the SDK, you're moving through the world the way the car is going. But what that means is you can't steer through the world. So you have to put in other choices, because you get the magic of moving through the world as the car is, but you have to find other ways to put choices in. So that's important. And you want to plan for different driving situations. You want to think about highway driving versus city driving versus dealing with a situation where you're stopped in traffic. We found a lot of this just rose out of the Elastic SDK, and that was great. But there are parts we had to think about, like the stopped in traffic moment. We made sure to kind of put some special gameplay moments in for that, and it worked great. Anyway, so there you go. So there's my summary of Cloudbreaker. If anyone is curious and wants to hear more about that, do feel free to reach out to me. I'd be happy to talk to anybody directly.
Awesome. Thank you, Jesse. And I can really tell you it's so much fun playing it. We can do selective demos during AWE, so we brought a developer kit. So if you're interested, you can reach out anytime. Nils@holoride.com, very simple. Can send me an email. I can't promise you a slot because, as I said, it's very restrictive, but you have to experience it. Yeah, so I have all the slides from Jesse here. Now I click very quickly through it. Go back. So maybe you can bring it back up. Cool. So at Holoride, we strongly believe that there is no limit to where a card can take you. And I mean, we've learned a lot about the metaverse in the last few hours already, and the discussion is like everywhere. But we strongly believe that the combination of the physical experience and the world around you, plus XR content, will revolutionize the way people experience car rides, and I think it offers a fantastic new and very creative opportunity for all the developers out there. So that's why I also want to encourage you to go on holoride.com/elastic-SDK. You find like first information, and you can sign up for the SDK and also our creator space where you can apply for the developers kit, because I don't expect you to have a Holoride ready car yet, since they come out next year. Yeah, so you can also follow us on our social channels, because we regularly publish a lot of information on the recent developments. But we have a few minutes left now, I think. Time's up. We don't even have time for questions anymore. It just says 2 minutes. Okay, but if you have any questions, I'm outside and happy to answer them. So thank you very much for joining us today. I thought it was